Welcome back to Everyday Hockey, presented by DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sport. Don't forget to use promo code THPN upon sign up for a bonus. And if you're a regular user, plug that promo code in for a weekly deal. Today, we talk about the Seattle Kraken's ownership giving Ron Francis and the general manager full authority to select Carey Price in the NHL expansion draft. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. All right, Dylan, there's a ton of news that came out of the weekend. There's a ton of news that dropped yesterday on Monday, but something that's still circling around are the rumors that the Seattle Kraken may select Carey Price in the expansion draft. Preliminary thoughts?
First thoughts, Marc Bergevin has balls of absolute steel. I mean, the fact that he would put this guy on the unprotected list is unbelievable. You know, I think they're taking a bet that Seattle doesn't want to take on $10 million and the rest of Carey Price's contract. But at the end of the day, this is one of the best goalies in the NHL.
We saw that in the playoffs. He honestly helped carry the Montreal Canadiens to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Pun intended.
No disrespect to the other players on that team, but you saw the way he performed. I mean, he's been Bergevin's guy for so long. You said that Bergevin has balls of steel. Well, he's testing Ron Francis's balls here to see if he wants to potentially pick up a franchise goaltender who would step in and potentially be the face of this franchise, much like Marc-Andre Fleury did with the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an option. Now, personally, I don't think they're going the route of Carey Price. I think there's so many other good goaltenders on the list for Seattle to select in the expansion draft that I think they let Carey Price and that massive contract stay in Montreal.
I think for the owners and then the Lewicki group and whatnot in Seattle, like, this is enticing. Like, oh my God, like, he's right there to be selected. But Ron Francis, the hockey minds are like, look, we're building a team. Carey Price maybe is a short-term solution to get, some fame and to appease the fans and the tabloids. You're bringing in the face of the franchise here, but building a team long-term, you want to go with, an established younger goaltender and like a Kaapo Kahkonen from the Minnesota Wild. We actually just heard that out of Florida, it's almost signed, sealed, and delivered that Driedger is actually being signed to a 3-year deal and is going to be selected.
Yeah, it sounds like a 3-year deal, and that just points to me that, they're not taking Carey Price. You talked about star power. I think you look at the list, you look at other teams who's available. I think there's some star power for the Seattle Kraken, so I don't think they'll have to take a guy like Carey Price to get the star power.
And the Montreal Canadiens, they want to keep Jake Allen. He's on a very respectable deal. I think he's just over like $2.6 million for another couple years or 3 years. He played very well for them this year, and Dallas actually is kind of doing the same thing. They exposed Bishop, who, waived to be selected in this draft as well, because they wanted to keep their backup Hudobin, and then they have a younger guy coming up that they wanted to keep that tandem. They thought if they dangled Bishop, they didn't think Seattle would take him because of, just what you said in regards to Montreal. There's so many other options out there. Montreal's kind of doing the same, but you actually, prior to recording this, brought up a very interesting point to me about Bergevin maybe having an even bigger master plan if Price is selected and Weber goes on LTIR.
Yeah, there are some rumors out there that Marc Bergevin, you're right, if Carey Price does get selected, that frees up around $10 million. There's rumors that he could be sending out an offer sheet. There's some names out there, notable restricted free agents. Elias Pettersson is one of them from Vancouver.
They need a top center.
Exactly, that's been rumored. And, Marc Bergevin, he could put a team like the Canucks in a bad position.
Well, he did that with the Carolina Hurricanes. Not necessarily put them in a bad position, but he went after Sebastian Aho when they had some cap room.
He forced their hand in the negotiations.
Exactly. And I mean, if Pettersson signed for 10-5, that would really, really hurt the Vancouver Canucks, who have to re-sign some other young guys like Quinn Hughes in particular. One last note in regards to the concerns about Carey Price maybe even being selected, because the Seattle Kraken, gave management full authority to select Price, but they were reviewing his medical records and whatnot. A lot of people are saying that, Carey Price, he's damaged goods, he's having surgeries all summer. I just want to say that, what goaltender / player who goes and plays as hard as he did in the playoffs and goes as far as he does in the playoffs, not having surgery in the summer, if he was too injured, there's actually protocol where he wouldn't even be allowed to be exposed in the expansion draft. So the fact that narrative is going around, I don't think there's validity to that, because he's exposed. It must mean his injuries aren't that bad.
No, Isha, it's a great point you brought up, because, a long playoff run and Carey Price, there's a lot of miles in that body. This isn't a guy who's been in the league for 5 years. He's been playing for a long time. And yeah, you're going to be dealing with injuries, but we've seen it before. We saw it this year. That doesn't stop this guy. He's still an elite goaltender in the NHL.
But He was an elite goaltender in the NHL in the playoffs because he had a guy like Jake Allen who could help him in the regular season. So 5 years left on a deal. Does Seattle take a chance on it? I personally say no. Dylan, you're kind of in the same camp, eh?
I'm going to say no.
All right. We want to hear from you. Where do you think Carey Price will land? And also, tell us what fruit was in the video in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.